Hello, this is Witch Nikki, and today I'm going to talk about a subject that is that I am very, very passionate about. Let me put it that way. And I don't, I don't want anybody who thinks that they're coming here today for a children's story to be confused. I'm not mad or upset at anybody that I know. This is about visiting a cemetery, and I do this on a yearly basis. I wish I could do it more often, because at this cemetery particularly, I have been told by two people now that live in the area that the cemetery is vandalized, and that hoodlums and paranormalists, probably other spiritualist type people who come in there to do rituals, are coming into this cemetery. And I'm very upset about that. I am a witch, but I'm a very responsible and caring and law-abiding witch. And it just sickens me that right here in this area of what I'm looking at, there used to be, right there, kind of in this area where the my arrow is pointing, a gravestone or a headstone for a man named Indian Joe. And there's quite a story and history about him, but I'm going to show you what it looked like. See? And there, it's gone. Okay, this wall right here where you see my cursor going back and forth, it's only about 5 feet tall. It should be at least 10 to 12 feet tall. I think that would be about sufficient to keep people out. But if I worked at it, I could probably put, like a box, a step ladder, or whatever, and get back and forth. I could climb over it. And there's other parts of it that are a little bit lower. This is kind of this part of it goes by a boulevard. And across the street, I think there's a trailer park. And right here, there's houses all along the wall. There's houses. The reason why I go here and I take my granddaughter and my daughter, Michelle, that's interesting. Let me put that on a pause. So I was just seeing something in there. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to move around too much, but I'm trying to watch what I'm doing on the screen as well as talk into this and have it on mute so that I could explain what I was doing there. Because I really want to post something about this. What I'm very passionate about is people going in there. And at this point, you might want to not let small children who don't understand violence and things that are graphic of that nature and satanic rituals. I'm going to be describing a little bit about that because it's very terrible, these things that are happening in there. And yes, I am a witch, but I do not believe in any kind of dark magic or dark arts, if you will, or any of that. Anything that has anything to do with killing or harming anyone, any animal or any person, or even at cemeteries for the dead. So please, if you've come for a story today by Witch Nikki, turn it off, and if you're okay with it, then please continue. But if not, I'll be doing another story video very shortly here, probably. I want to try to get through this. I have a very important message for all the urban explorers out there. all the ones who do paranormal activities, haunted videos of cemeteries, you all know who you are. I don't have to name names. I really don't want to have to get into that. But I really am pretty upset. Not at you specifically. But here's what happens. When you go to post about a cemetery and people are following you, they're going to go there and they're going to try doing these rituals. And in no book or nowhere have I ever found any knowledge about anybody doing rituals at a cemetery. Not in the Wicca religion, at least. Now, I don't know about all the satanic religions out there, but I know that if they see somebody who's done something on TV, or they have this old wives' tale, go do this in a cemetery, or go do that in a cemetery, and it will take care of this or that. Baloney. Baloney. Now, that really pisses me off. Sorry for my language, but you know, it really pisses me off is that people go in here, and there was one time where I had found a Pendleton shirt. I picked it up because it looked kind of new and fresh, like somebody just put it down there. I picked it up, and underneath it were two smashed baby chicks. That's disgusting. But it was not the most disgusting of things that's ever happened in here. And I met a lady that came to me while I was in here, and she saw that, you know, I had my camera and that I was going around and talking and whatever, and she was questioning that because she lives nearby. And she kind of got upset at first. She got upset at Michelle and Ginger, who were just walking around cleaning off some of the gravestones. And Michelle actually knows somebody in that cemetery. One of her friend's father is buried there. So she was cleaning off his little headstone too. And a lot of gophers dig up stuff, so the earth and soil's on top of headstones. So we go around cleaning it off. Usually after Halloween. I don't like going to a cemetery on Halloween, and it's not because it's scary. It's just because cemeteries are going to be being watched more on Halloween than any other time of the year. But they should be watching this one year-round, and they don't even have a groundskeeper here. There's an opening at both entrances, and I'm not going to give the location because I just don't want people going here and doing any more damage. It's terrible. There are markers here from the 1800s. And there's a lot. I forgot how many this lady told me, but there's a lot of veterans buried here too. Like in the hundreds. Probably close to 200 and something from what she was telling me. Now, I'm not sure about the facts, but I have been checking it out, and I found that possibly the city had prohibited anyone taking photographs for commercial purposes or otherwise. Oops, sorry. I need to get readjusted here in my chair. Hold on. Here I am sitting there in the cemetery, and I'm finishing up my video. I'm doing my outro, whatever you want to call it, finishing up, and I'm not very happy right here because I'm sitting at Indian Joe. I keep wanting to say Indiana Jones, but it's Joe's plot, and it had been taken away. So I was very upset about that. Now, the other thing that I'm very upset about is that people have this crazy idea that cemeteries are haunted. Baloney. Here's why. Number one, the person's body has been dropped. So it's in the ground. It's been prayed over. People have laid it to rest. So all the spirits in the cemetery, if there's no more spirits, actually there's no more spirits in the cemetery except mine and whoever else is there and around. Now, there's a lot of thoughts about things like this. And everybody needs to do their own kind of research on what they believe and what to believe. And I've done that for a long time. Now, the Native Americans' graves have been dug up for centuries. Now, I could say, oh, hey, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do the same thing to the white people and dig up their cemeteries and stuff. So I'm just kind of showing the whole cemetery right here. And you see that there's a lot of trees in the center area where the road goes in, and it goes all the way around like a curve to the left, and it goes out. And right there is the spot where Indian Joe is buried. As far as I know, his coffin wasn't taken out, but that would piss me off even more. But it's just his headstone. Okay, so what I'm saying or trying to say is that cemeteries are not haunted. Why do people think that you can communicate with spirits at a cemetery? That's ludicrous. Spirits go on. Whatever religion you are a part of, you know that the spirit goes on somewhere. It does not linger behind in a pile of bones that are down in the ground. What do you think, that the spirit's going to linger there until the body has all dissolved and there's just nothing left but the bones? No. As soon as you die, your spirit goes on. Some people say that a spirit will linger if it was taken too fast, like an accident or murder, suicide, something like that, that they might linger on for a period of time because they are still not at rest. They're angry and upset about whatever it was that happened, and they want to try to have somebody who's living to see what happened, to understand what happened, and try to help them to go back through and on to the next journey. Okay? Now, some people believe in a couple of 2 or 3 places that you go to after you die. I believe in the theory of being, or belief of being reincarnated. You go on to a different life. It does say in the Christian Bible that you go on to a new journey. So what that journey is, it's not specific. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, maybe everybody perceives it to be one way or the other. Whatever it is, cemetery is a place where the people have been buried. Now, all people who have been buried, when they, at wherever it is, even if it's out on a country road, or because back in the way back in the 1800s, when they were having the Cherokee Trail of Tears, there were many people who died along the way And the soldiers did not let them stop to bury their dead. Now, am I angry or upset about that? Yes, I am. What happened to those bodies? We don't know. Maybe some of them, the snow came and they died. Of course, they were already dead, but they were covered with the snow and eventually, went back to earth. Maybe somebody came along somewhere along the way and did bury them. Or at least the remains. Maybe by these times, maybe people have gone and found the remains and buried them. I'm really not 100% sure on what did happen there, okay? But all I'm just saying, and now, also for anywhere where they have ancient people and ancient burial grounds, not just Native Americans, Egyptian, Mayan, different tribes around the country in different areas. Archaeologists have gone and dug up their cemeteries, their burial grounds, whether it was paid for or not. Like here, okay, this area, this whole cemetery, people pay for their plots. Does that protect them from archaeologists coming in here and digging them up and putting their remains in a museum? Yes, it does. But it should everywhere else, no matter where a person was buried. That's another one of my points. I know I get off. I should just put a little list out here. And point 1, don't go into a cemetery and do any kind of ritual. That is sick and it's disgusting, and I don't tolerate it. If I ever know of any of my friends online, on any of the social medias, to have participated in anything like that in a cemetery or done anything illegal in a cemetery, I will report you and I will block you, and you're out of my life. You're just out of my life, and karma's coming for you. Now, I'm not saying that any of my friends would do that. I usually pick my friends very carefully. But you never know nowadays. People start following me because I'm a witch, and they think, oh, witches do this. Well, no. No. I do not ever go into a cemetery and destroy anything, or I don't even light a candle in there. That's not my area to do that. Plus, I just don't do those kind of rituals. Now, some will say, well, people have the freedom of religion. Yes, but you do it in your own home or your own place of worship. And out here in this cemetery is not your place of worship. You do not get to use a cemetery for your rituals. And I will no longer follow or support anybody that I see doing anything on any of these YouTube videos. Going into a cemetery and doing these things. You can expect to hear from me on this. I will be leaving comments to anybody I see going into a cemetery and saying, oh, we went to this haunted cemetery and we saw this and we did this and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to do that in front of me. Now, cemeteries are there for a reason. They're there for the dead, to bury the dead. That's what they're there for. They're not there for people going in and doing things like that. I'm just so disgusted by it. You could just tell because I just keep going on and on about it, but I am. I don't know all the rules and regulations of all the cemeteries around this city or the other cities or anywhere in Los Angeles or in California or the United States. Everybody, there's so many. everybody has their own rules and regulations. So for me to just go in there and do what I did yesterday, I was not trying to break any rule. In fact, people know me. I am a law-abiding citizen, and I would never go into a place like this, a cemetery, and do anything like this that has been done in this cemetery here. Look at that. I'm just thoroughly disgusted by that empty spot there. So yeah, why do people think that their cemeteries are out there for you to go into and do your own little you call it 3 a.m. challenges or paranormal activities and taking EVPs in there and things like that, that they can get those right outside. You don't have to go into a cemetery. You don't have to go right up to a cemetery, up to a headstone or anything like that. I cannot express this enough. The spirits are not there. They're not. I don't care who tells me that the spirits still linger at cemeteries. That is completely false. 100%. You could go to where Elvis is laid to rest. You could go where Marilyn Monroe is laid to rest. Any celebrities, anybody. The spirit is not there. It's interesting to look at where they're at, to be respectful, pay your respects, and then leave. I can't express that enough. This lady that came up to me yesterday, one reason why she was so upset about me was because so many other people have come and done despicable things in the cemetery. And that would have pissed me off too. If I lived around there, it would have been both of us coming down there to see who was in the cemetery and doing whatever they're doing. And making them get out. She's seen people doing photo shoots there. And I guess that's why they decided that they need to put a ban on it. Because there was she said one day, a photographer and his model. And the model was sitting, straddling on a headstone that she could get up on. And being very obscene. Very obscene, she said. And there's been times where she's come in and she's seen chickens hanging from trees with their heads cut off and the blood pouring out over onto the ground, and chickens on other people's headstones and things like that. That to me is disgusting, and it must stop. So if you're an urban explorer out there and you visit cemeteries past the time of closing, because most of them have a closing time, and that means whether they have a gate on them or not, if there's a sign that says closed between sunrise and sunset or whatever, or between sunset and sunrise, whatever, they don't put an hour. That means when it's dark in that cemetery, you better stay out. Now, you should. You really should. There's nothing that you can see there in the day that you can't see at night, but at night it is no more scarier than it is during the day. Is the day or the night is the same. Ghosts don't have a time clock where they punch in and say, okay, it's time to go haunting now. Let's punch in the time clock and go haunting. Do you see how stupid some of this stuff sounds? It's very stupid to me, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's ludicrous, really, that anybody would think that when you bury a person's body, that you're burying a spirit. I want to laugh. I want to laugh at that, and I want to cry at that. My God, how stupid can some people be? Now, which Nikki doesn't get very angry very often, but when you cross the line on stuff like this, you have made me upset. That's something you don't want to do. And I don't know who it was that's been out there or who stole Indian Jones' headstone again. The lady told me 3 times. And I know of at least now 2 times. So, you know, that's wrong. Number 2, people going in and killing chickens. I've seen it. I've seen the bodies of little baby chicks. And this lady has told me that she, on a number of occasions, she's seen roosters, or mostly roosters, that have been killed in the cemetery for these rituals. I don't want to just blame it on the satanic people, because that's like everybody blaming everything on witches. But I'm just saying, whatever the ritual is, whatever the hoodoo, the voodoo, the whatever the heck it is, it needs to stop. These cemeteries are not yours. You need to create your own ritual spaces. You need to do your own rituals there. I don't know, buy some property and do it out there. But in these cemeteries, just because there's nobody around making sure that they're clean and taking care of them, does not give you the right to go into them and do these things. This lady also told me of very adult activity that was going on, illegal adult activity concerning drug use, sexual activity, and other things too. People burying animals there, and things like that. So that's just disgusting to me. I can't express enough. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about. And you know, this lady thought that she came over to find me and yell at me and get upset, because she yelled at Michelle a little bit. She got a little bit upset with Michelle. And then Michelle says, well, my mom brought us here, since she's over there right now. And then she headed towards me, and she had a very angry look on her face. And I met her very nicely as I possibly could, and we had a discussion. I told her what I was doing there. And I told her I came to clean up some of the headstones, and that I had the biggest respect for places like this, and I have been coming there for many years. Why don't I go to other cemeteries? Well, and she even told me that there was another one far worse than this one. So that upsets me even more. Now, I don't know yet what I'm going to do about this, but I am trying to call the Parks and City Management and the Cemetery Society and people like that to try to talk about what can I do to help prevent things like this from happening. This, to me, is my number one step, is putting it out there that if you are a urban explorer, I'm going to say this again, stay out of the cemeteries. They are not for exploration. You're not going to find anything there that is, you know, worth filming, really. And anything that you do see on these videos that people do post, it's all been clickbait. It's all been staged. It's fake. And yeah, I'm going straight out and calling you up on it. No, you're not going to be doing this anymore. If I ever see the videos around here on YouTube, expect Witch Nikki to be leaving a comment. It's going to be negative. Well, anyways, I love you all. There we go. And I'll be reading a story again pretty soon. Thank you so much for listening to me rant on, but please stay out of the cemeteries. They're not for fun. They're not for rituals. Thank you.